It's a death cart. It's piled full. Yellow fever's everywhere. White folks dropping like flies.
You hear that?
I've never seen nothing like this.
Jupiter, take Mrs. Randolph at once to Germantown.
I shan't go.
Patsy, I'll join you there later and we'll go on home together.
I shan't leave you here alone.
I have work to finish.
Then I'll stay too.
You're a stubborn child.
I come by it honestly.
Mr. Tom, you have a visitor.
Colonel Hamilton?
Has the president arrived yet?
Not yet. My daughter, Mrs. Randolph, Colonel Hamilton.
He asked me to meet him here. I'll wait in my carriage.
You're welcome to sit here.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Father. Colonel Hamilton.
It's a fellow lying on the sidewalk, dead of the plague. It's not a pleasant sight. Set my driver to fetch the death cart.
A bad business.
It's getting worse by the minute. You moving?
Yes. You must pardon our appearance. You will excuse me.
Quite all right. Please don't let me disturb you.
The president should have left the city immediately.
You can be sure I ordered him out. Great man's a stubborn warrior, though. Can't budge him. Never could. The Gazette.
Yes.
I noticed an article in here referring to you. You read it?
I have.
Well phrased.
Brilliantly. And thoroughly untrue, Colonel Hamilton. Thoroughly.
Now, come on now, Mr. Jefferson. You do well with the ladies.
So I see in the Gazette.
When I read this article, I
Read
said
it?
to myself...
It's commonly supposed, Colonel Hamilton, that you wrote it.
It's written by some person called Pacificus.
Pacificus.
Yes.
Peaceful. A proper pen name. Colonel Hamilton, almost since our first cabinet meeting, you and I have been thrown at each other like cocks in a pit. Well, the cockfight is over. Pacificus will soon have the cabinet to himself.
How is that?
Hasn't the president informed you?
No.
I've resigned.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not. I'm very happy, Colonel.
Well, in that event, I rejoice with you.
Colonel Hamilton, you're going to your home in the country now to wait out the plague?
Yes?
I, too, will be gone in a few days. We may never see each other again.
Quite probably we won't.
I should like to ask you, as man to man, without rancor or warmth, is this fitting to the dignity of a minister of state?
Was it fitting the dignity of your high office to send your henchmen prying into my private life?
I never did that.
You thought I would keep silent, did you? You thought sooner than risk my personal happiness, I'd let you call me thief. Well, you see what you've done. Congress has cleared my public name, and I'm all the stronger for it. I didn't run away. However, in your case, I think it wise for you to run home and sit on your mountaintop. The philosophic experiment is over. Your democracy is finished.
Do you really think that?
I know it. I knew it 6 years ago. My God, aren't the omens clear enough? Even to a utopian. What do you think of your people now? Your fellow dreamer, Lafayette, in irons, rotting in a German jail. His only refuge from the very ones he sought to free. At that, he's lucky. If he hadn't escaped in time, even now his head would be lying in a basket, his blood flowing in the gutter, running into a river of the noblest blood of France, for your drunken swine, the people, to swim in. I tell you, it nauseates me to the very heart. And now the same rioting mobs here, and next the same terror.
General Washington.
Gentlemen. Mr. President.
In these times, Mr. President, no ass or fetid a pad. We can't afford to lose you, I beg of you.
Oh, very well, thank you. More than 2,000 dead already. This plague is worse than 100 battles of cannon.
You should have left the city immediately, sir.
I think I almost prefer to be in my grave than in the present situation. What does it all mean? Incredible. Aren't men fit to be free? Is that the answer? Have you spoken to the French minister?
Yes. One can't reason with him.
Yeah.
He's a lunatic. I've demanded his recall.
They're all lunatics. Lafayette fleeing for his life. Lafayette! And now here, mobs rioting. What does this mean? Would you mind waiting below? I should like to talk with you.
I'll wait in your carriage. Your servant, Mr. Jefferson.
Mr. Hamilton.
I shall have to speak to him again. He's very difficult, but then he's always been that way. Once, during the war, when he was my aide, he kept me waiting 2 hours. When I rebuked him, he resigned. Sulked like a little boy. Finally, I gave him what he wanted, a command in the field. He was a very good soldier. Led his troops in the first assault at Yorktown. He is an invaluable man. Why can't you two work together?
Our principles are as separate as the poles.
Coalesce them.
It can't be done.
Let me be the mediator.
You've tried before.
Let me try again.
It's no use. Believe me, neither of us could honestly sacrifice his belief to the other.
Well, I'm ordered back home. Any messages to Albemarle County?
My regards to Mr. Madison. And you might take a look at my new threshing machine. You get 8 bushels of wheat an hour out of 2 horses.
Well, I shall certainly examine it.
Tell Madison next spring we'll be planting our gardens together.
No, Tom, I'm afraid you won't.
Why not?
Your resignation, I can't accept it.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, you'll have to.
Where can I find anyone to replace you?
I don't flatter myself on that score. I've failed.
Let me be the judge of that.
I have spent 24 years in public life. My personal affairs have been abandoned too long. They're in utter chaos. I must turn to them and to my family.
And the good esteem of your fellow men?
There was a time when that was of higher value to me than anything in the world. Now I prefer tranquility. Here, for everything I hate, you ask me to give up everything I love. I'm sorry, no. I want a little peace in my lifetime.
I know. I know. I'm sick, Tom. And I'm getting old. And I catch myself dreaming of the Potomac and Mount Vernon. Don't you think I hate all this, too? Don't you think I long for the peace of my own farm? Don't you think all this peace in our lifetime? Now, where? Oh, yes. It was Paine who wrote it. Was it in The Crisis? Ah. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink. Oh, how that brings back the picture, as if it were yesterday. My men, starved, naked, bleeding. Paine's essay lent me new strength. I had it read to my men through trumpets, nailed on trees for them to read. It helped them, gave them sore, needed courage. Do you remember the passage of the Tory innkeeper who was opposed to the war because... That's it. He wanted peace in his lifetime. And Paine looked down at the innkeeper's children crawling on the floor and thought, if this Tory were a man, he would say, if there must be conflict with tyranny, let it come in my time. Let there be peace and freedom in my children's time. Yes, I suppose that is the answer, the only answer.